I'm telling you, I've been saying it for a while. The Hawks are building something that we need to watch out for. I'm just saying it. Quin Snyder, Landry Fields, Kyle Korver, they're building something. And yeah, I know the Timberwolves aren't what they were last year, but that's a team that has championship aspiration that just got beat by the Hawks. The Hawks, just like the Timberwolves, are 6-4 in their last 10. So let's talk about why the Hawks continue, as they are the current 7th seed in the East, to be a dark horse playoff contender. A team that could upset another rival team that has championship aspirations. I do work for hoopshype.com as a multimedia journalist. I'm on my way back from Orlando from the showcase, the G League showcase, and I just want to talk about this Hawks team. Hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this, as the Atlanta Hawks are a team that deserves more coverage, in my opinion. It's honestly so frustrating that not more people are covering the Hawks. And I know Lauren Williams and the other great Atlanta media does a good job of covering, but I just say from a national standpoint, so I always love to make a Hawks video. Plus, I actually really like Trae Young. I'm a fan of Trae Young. I think he's the best point guard since it's Steve Nash. Argue me on that. So, best passer in the NBA since he came in. Now let's just talk about this Atlanta Hawks team that has just put themselves in a position to be a dark horse team to upset people in the playoffs. Head coach Quin Snyder, that they brought over midseason after firing Nate McMillan in 22-23, is in his second full year in the job, 2.5 years now into it, with general manager Landry Fields and assistant general manager Kyle Korver both being former players who played in the 2010s. Now, I think this team has done a great job of transitioning its core into a modern NBA team that is fit to comply with the flexibility and play multiple styles. I think this team is built with depth in mind and versatility and having a lot of analytically driven decisions, it seems. Yes, they're like 14 and 15 at this point, and they have a net rating of negative 3.2, which is like the 9th worst in the league. And they've had stretches where it hasn't looked good, but then the other stretches, it looks like they're a piece or two away from really being a team that can take the next step. As Quin Snyder has always been a man who's been known for his innovative offensive schemes, going back to Missouri, to his time as the Austin Toros coach, to the Utah Jazz, where he had implemented that high-tempo three-point focused system around Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. Now, under his guidance, the Hawks this season are 3rd in the NBA in assists per game with 29.7, 4th in points per game with 116.4. Obviously, Quin Snyder's emphasis in ball movement and efficient shot selection is very evident in hallmarks of what a modern NBA offense typically looks like. Landry Fields and Kyle Korver have allowed Quin Snyder's coaching be part of how they make their Astur roster moves. I think he also probably holds a heavier hand in those roster moves than people think. And I think the team's depth of young budding stars like Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, who are both very capable defenders. If not one, Dyson is a defensive player of the year candidate and better than Marcus Smart. And Mr. Jalen Johnson is not a defensive player to slouch at, and both have flourished as offensive players. Like Jalen Johnson literally looks like a number 2 option. Clint, Capela and Onyeka Okongwu are doing their things, and it seems to be that they're trying to flip Clint Capela into finally. DeAndre Hunter is a legit 6th man of the year candidate. Bogdanovich is another 6th man of the year guy. And I think the blend of youth, veteran, and experience all around Trae Young is allowing them to compete in high-stakes games. And I think Atlanta's firepower is its biggest strength. They're 8th in offensive rebounds with 12.5 a game. And I've always said rebounding the basketball demoralizes your opponents, physically imposes your will against them, makes them second-guess things, makes them second-guess trying to absorb or take content, and it allows you to get second-chance points, especially on offense or kickstart or fast break. And they have the 13th in true shooting at 56.5%, which, again, they're maximizing second chance opportunities, and they're capitalizing on efficient looks. Trae Young's out there being the engine to this offense, averaging 21.6 points and 12.2 assists. And he's starting to get a bit more efficient as usual. He starts cold. He has 39% field goal percentage and 32% from the three, below his norm. But by All-Star break, he starts to get cooking. And having a new 20-point per game scorer in Jalen Johnson, who's out there almost shooting 50% from the field, is huge, as he's not only a scorer, but a rebounder that can also pass, dribble, and shoot. So that's huge. Then you have a career high in DeAndre Hunter, 20 points, mainly being off the bench, shooting 44% from beyond the arc, finally looking like the guy that we thought it could be, the Swiss Army knife out of Virginia. I almost said like Cavaliers, but like the Vavaliers was what I was going to say. Now, I think Dyson Daniels and Clint Capela are both doing a really good job. Obviously, Dyson Daniels, 8 steals in the game against the Timberwolves, and the Hawks ranked second in steal time a game. They're generating turnovers. They're capitalizing in the transition opportunities they're creating on defense. And Clint's, we're not doing the same things he did offensively, but he's anchoring the rebounding on defense, just grabbing boards, 9 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks. He's still an interior presence. I still think that, you need to flip him. This is a team that's the third worst opponent three-point percentage in the league at 38.4%. But having a guy like Garrison Matthews who steps up to the occasion when given the opportunity, he had 7 of 8 from 3 against the Timberwolves. He was a guy who just could not miss. And he's also a guy who's really good at get deflections and doing things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. He should be another defender we need to mention. And Dyson Daniels forced Anthony Edwards to go 7 for 20. I just think that this is a team that also was able to, go from trailing at halftime to using a run in the third quarter to not even, they shot 50% from 3, which is amazing. I think they can just shoot themselves into any game. Yeah, they can shoot themselves out of any game, but they're averaging 3 more points than they score. They average 116.4 points a game, but they allow 119.6 points a game, which is third worst in the NBA. So if they can really flip Clint Capela, there's rumors of Larry Nance, but I really think Larry Nance is someone who they value as a leader and a guy that they would like to keep around. They probably could. So if they could flip Clint for 2 players, or Clint package with somebody, and Krijic, is it Krijic, right? Krijic is a good defender. But if they can flip like Capela in a 3-team trade in this, I don't even know what team would rightfully trade for a center like that. But let's say in a hypothetical world, they are able to flip Capela in a 3-team trade. Let's say you get the Lakers, then to send Russell and Jalen and Shafino to another team. What team would that be? It becomes hard. Maybe you try to get yourself a Robert Williams, and who would be a backup point guard? You could go out like a Robert Williams in that deal. And I mean, the dream would be Matisse Thybulle, and then maybe you go out and get a free agent point guard to help you out, or you just do like a Patrick Beverly, who seems to be coming back. But that's just hearsay. So why the Hawks are guys that you need to look out for? Again, they can shoot themselves into any game there, and even if they keep Capela and stuff, this team is just a core that they can throw Nico Okongwu out there, and they have or they can go Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan, and Trae Young right there. Trae Young, Bogdan, DeAndre Hunter, Jalen Johnson, and even Zachary Risacher are old guys. And Risacher is a guy we barely talked this video, but he's a guy at times can help them out. And they can even run Okongwu out there without Risacher, or take out Bogdan and just have size. So I think having that size allows them to just have more versatility that in the past they didn't. And I've always said this, that Trae Young needs to be treated like Steph Curry. Steph Curry was able, I know Steph Curry's bigger, but having players that are 6'7" and above next to Trae Young will help limit the defensive liabilities. Like Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, you rotate Bogdan, Zachary Risacher, DeAndre Hunter, and I feel like I'm blanking right now. Dyson Daniels, Zachary Richese, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, Garrison Matthews, all right there. I mean, Jalen Johnson as well. That's like 6 dudes. And then you still have Clint Capela and Onyeka Okongwu and Larry Nance to go from with different looks in the front court. I just think this team is building. You have an offensive weapon and Trae Young. You have the 6-mans. You have the offensive guy. Like, remember, Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson almost, both were like neck to neck in the 6-man of the year race. It's like DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovich are like that on steroids. That's it. I'm done ranting. I hope you guys did enjoy.